everybody, and thanks for joining me today. So I'm finishing up the peahen's wing. Yeah, we got some colors here, and then I can see from the symbols changing that it's going to get into some of the lighter colors there where her chest is. There's some more wing to fill in up top, but this is about it for where it is near the bottom of this piece. So that's where I'm working today. That's a very short little bit. Oh my. See if I can get it to work with me. Yeah, so it did warm up a bit again, but it's still chilly out there. Yeah, my son has his final exams this week, but most of them are after lunch, so that's kind of nice. Don't have to get up quite so early. Can sleep in a little. Yeah. Oops. Yeah, hard to believe their school year is half over. Yeah, it's finals for the first semester classes, so yeah. And then he has only 4 classes for his last semester, so he'll have a spare again, so that will help with having enough time to get everything done. Yeah, he's going to take commercial cooking. He's taken that the last couple of years, so yeah, he's actually become quite good at it. And he's taking game design, computer science, and then his last English language requirement for graduation. Yeah. Oh, let's take a look. How long is this piece? I'm thinking I may still do another piece from the bottom regardless. Yeah, and it's not very long. That's what I thought. Oh, goodness. There we are. Thread was trying to grab itself. We don't want that. Yeah, I remember when I was in high school, ours did 8 courses the whole year, I think it was. So yeah, they would alternate days. So A, B, C, D was one day, and then E, F, G, H was the next day. Yeah. And then we had all the exams at the end of the year. So yeah, there was that. But then that meant we had, yeah, like only 2 exam periods. We had midterms and then finals. And then, yeah, so that means for my son, because they're doing half each year, they have midterms, finals, midterms, finals. So, yeah, I mean, it all works out the same in the end, but yeah. Yeah, just use a separate piece for this whole thing here. Yeah, so like I said, I seem to have staved off that cold, but had a little bit of dizziness the other day when I woke up. That was no fun. Yeah, so it's one nice thing that my son can drive now because, yeah, I needed to go to the pharmacy. It was too cold to walk, plus I was dizzy, so, you know, and I definitely didn't feel safe to drive being dizzy, so, yeah, it was kind of nice. He can just take me, so, yeah, because his dad is out of town for work. Yeah. It wasn't really bad, and I probably would have been okay, but it's not worth taking that risk, that's for sure. Yeah. I don't drive if I'm not feeling 100%. It's better to make alternate arrangements than to risk it, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, like I said before, this is more orange. On the mock-up, it looked more brown. This is more orangey. So. had the same thought when I was working on these parts of the peacock. Yeah, but I was happy with how the whole thing looks when I spread it out to take a progress picture, so yeah. Although, yeah, I remember I say I trust the pattern, but I had one time I was stitching one and I thought, this looks funny, but I'll trust the pattern. But the problem was it was a pretty lousy pattern. It was not charted very well. And I think they probably scanned like a photocopy or something. Yeah, which I didn't realize when I bought it. And so the symbols were not super clear. And I read it wrong. And I used this like kind of olivey yellow color. And it was supposed to be like a dark green. And I kept thinking, maybe it's me. And that's why it looks wrong. And then, yeah, I got about a quarter of the way through it and then realized, oh, I used the wrong symbol. And I just went, oh, okay, forget it. And I wasn't going to pick that out. And I ended up not restarting it because, yeah, the pattern was awful to work with. This was pre-Pattern Keeper days, but it wouldn't have worked on Pattern Keeper anyway. I kind of tried it later after I had it because it was a PDF. But yeah, like I said, I think it was a scan of a photocopy because the quality was lousy, and so it wouldn't have the correct coding. Because yeah, they said like you can't just take a scan. Not every PDF will work for full searchability. It'll display, and if they have options for you to like add the grid manually so that it recognizes the squares properly, so you can still highlight and mark off. So people like that because you still get the zoom in and out and that kind of features, and it counts how many stitches you did and all that, but it doesn't have the search, which of course is my favorite feature of the whole thing. And yeah, so I tried just to see what would happen, and yeah, it said that it couldn't read the symbols or the grids didn't make sense or something like that. I can't remember what the error message was, but yeah, it wouldn't work. So yeah. And I thought about like manually importing, but I just went, nah, you know what? I wasn't that in love with the pattern that it just wasn't worth it to me to make it work. So, and it was like a mountain cabin with, what do you call it? The northern lights in the sky above. So in the end, I just ended up, Artisy released a pattern that was kind of similar. And actually, it's the one I use for my avatar. It's called Make-A-Wish Painting. And yeah, that one was beautiful. And again, this was pre-Pattern Keeper. I stitched it on paper. But yeah, they always make very nice, clear patterns. I have never had a problem with theirs. I'd done 3 by Artisy, and yeah, they have always been wonderful. And the lady who runs the site is always super helpful if you have any problems. Yeah, she's great. And they also have a gallery rewards program. So if you are the first to stitch up a piece and submit a picture for their gallery, they give you a voucher for, I think it's like $10 off your next purchase. So yeah, they used to just for a regular size pattern, but they changed it to a voucher so that you could apply it to like a large size if you preferred. You got the credit, and yeah, so. I did get a credit for that one, and I used it towards the Soulful Mediterranean Tranquility that I started this channel with. Yeah. And I really like too, they have the patterns very well indexed on their site. So it's very easy to search for, you know, you can say flowers, or you want something with a tiger in it, or, you know, something like that. Yeah. It's, they're all tagged really well with keywords, and so it makes it easier to find exactly what you're looking for. I really liked that. because I found some other sites sometimes you kind of had to go through many, many different artists and stuff. And yeah, which I guess is fine if you're browsing. But yeah, like I said, if you're looking for something specific, I like to be able to just type in, you know, peacock or whatever and have it show you all the matches instead of having to manually sort of browse through everything on their site. Yeah. Yeah, so that's sort of one of my daily things. I'll go to a lot of these cross-stitch sites and just look at the new releases. Not every day, but sort of like once a week. Yeah. I figure that way I won't miss anything. Okay, so let's see, how long is this piece? That's long enough there too. Okay, so I'm going to park this one down below. Yeah, there we are. So park this one right there. Oops, meant to move, not highlight. There we go. So yeah, when I have more than one thread attached, I like to check the lengths and then I decide from there what I want to park where. Try not to twist that around itself. So yeah, like I said, I've got the last of this orange here. It kind of changes into some paler color here, and I'm probably just going to continue doing the darker colors for now. But yeah, this is the last session of the month, I believe, so I will probably not get to those until during February. Yeah. So I may get my first 0 in February. I may not. It just depends. Yeah. Like I said, yeah, I had other stuff going on this month. I was watching figure skating nationals and I was digitizing old photos, and yeah, so I just didn't have as much time to stitch. Oh, pardon me. No, it just started snowing out there again. Yeah, fortunately we haven't had any major blizzards yet. Fingers crossed. Yeah, it's wild, they said. I had some friends in the States who are having snow who have never had snow before. Yeah, and then they must be getting ours because, yeah, usually we have a ton by now, but it has not been very much this year. Well, my husband hasn't minded, that's for sure. Yeah. Snow removal is his chore, so yeah. I mean, we do have a snowblower, but he only uses it when there's like 6 inches or more. He says otherwise it's kind of just a waste. So, yeah. I do tell him to be careful because he is starting to get to that age when, you know, overdoing it with the snow shoveling, guys end up getting heart attacks, and we definitely don't want that. Yeah, we have a neighbor who uses a leaf blower to move their snow, and yeah, it irritates me. It's a very harsh sound. I find the snowblower is a lower rumble, and I don't really notice it as much, but the leaf blower is, I guess it's like right in that range. That's a very, very grating, very harsh sound. So yeah, I don't enjoy it. And half the time they use a leaf blower when it's still snowing and the wind is still blowing, so it's kind of pointless. They end up having to do it again. Yeah. So it was like that place we rented where the guy mowed the lawn every freaking day. Yeah, it was insane. It was an older retired couple, and they lived in the ground level, and we rented the upper floor. And yeah, the guy was retired, and I guess he didn't have anything else to do, and he was bored because every freaking day he got on his ride mower. And yeah, it's like, the grass doesn't grow that fast, dude. Like, oh my gosh. And I swear, it was like every time you wanted to do something where you needed it to be more quiet was when he would turn, like, we literally would turn on the TV to watch a movie, and it would start. I was like, oh, come on. Oh. Okay, there's going to be some traveling around there. Yeah. Yeah, I remember we had moved away when I got married a few years later, but I invited them to our wedding, and they weren't able to come, but she gave me a set of Corningware dishes that I still have. Yeah. One of the best wedding gifts I got, yeah. I still use them to this day. Yeah, I remember we lived there. That was after we moved from Vancouver Island to the mainland, and we were used to, on Vancouver Island, like, it's there's almost always a nice sea breeze blowing, and it doesn't really get that hot. And then yeah, so like it got to like maybe plus 25 was like the hottest it got, Celsius. And then we moved there, and we were renting the top floor, and then it was like plus almost 40 that first year. Oh, I thought we were dying. And we couldn't escape to the basement, because yeah, they lived down in the basement. So yeah, I remember my sister and I would, like, during that summer, we'd just stick our heads under the shower head and wet our hair down with cold water, and then just walk around with your hair wet, and that helped you stay cool, because yeah, that was wild. Oh, we were not prepared. Oh, kind of the opposite. I remember someone I knew moved here and then said, like, when they say minus 40, they don't actually mean minus 40, right? I'm like, oh honey, yeah, they do. And sometimes it's minus 40 before the wind chill. Yeah. She was not prepared. Yeah, actually, the first year we moved out here, we hit minus 50 a couple of times, and my husband thought that the thermometer was broken. He didn't think it was actually that cold. But yeah, it was. Oh, here comes my food delivery. Excellent. Okay, so there's quite a lot of this color all over the place, yeah. So I'm kind of cutting it off here for now. I'm going to just kind of keep filling in this curve, and we'll see where I carry it from there, what I decide to do. Yeah, I'll bring the food in later, it's fine. I don't have to sign for it or anything. Sure that I'm stitching in the correct place. Yeah, okay. Just cross-checking with my grid lines there to make sure I got it just right. Yeah, they recently changed. They used to put, because I get 3 meals a week in my delivery box, and they used to have them in their own sort of separate brown paper bags. They changed it now and they have one big bag for all the stuff that needs to go in your fridge and one big bag for all the stuff that needs to go, doesn't need to go in the fridge, you know, that can just go in your pantry, on your counter, whatever. And I guess they wanted to like cut down on the packaging, but I said it's kind of annoying now because now I can't just grab one. I have to actually sit there, look at the recipe card and like inventory it myself. Yeah. So. But not a big deal. As long as everything is there. Okay, so. Yeah, this is kind of shading on here, but it is darker colors than I would have expected. But yeah, you never know. When I was working on my Artisy Soulful Mediterranean Tranquility piece, when I first started, the shadowy side of the columns looked so purple and it made me kind of nervous, but yeah, it worked. When I was done, yeah, I was happy with it. It's kind of funny because I put on the delivery instructions on there to leave it at my back door, and they always leave it at the front door. Yeah. And it's not that big a deal. I just said that because our front walkway can get kind of icy and sometimes it's hard to keep up with. So I said to leave it at the back door because I don't want anyone slipping on the ice. But yeah, they just leave it on the front. So, oh well. Yeah, it's that walkway has sunk down. And the problem is the roof line, it drips right onto the middle of it. And yeah, especially during the spring thaw, it is a huge pain. It floods and then freezes, and yeah, like we do try to keep it salted and stuff, but yeah, it's a big pain. Eventually what we want to do is we'll have to redo the driveway because it's really old and cracking, and we'll do the walkway at the same time, and we're actually, my husband says, we'll move the walkway kind of so it's under the overhang properly, and then that way it won't flood anymore. But yeah, it's kind of a big undertaking and it's not cheap. So yeah, we bought Kiddo his own vehicle this just in 2024. So yeah, that was sort of the huge purchase for the year there. Yeah. Yeah, it's his early graduation present. Yeah, I told him, you're lucky. I did not get a car for graduating. I got a pen. Yeah, because I expressed that I wanted to be a writer. It's like, okay, but I would have preferred a computer because I don't write longhand. Yeah, I edit as I go, and my hand cramps if I try to write with pen and paper for a long time. So, yeah. I know some people do, but it's definitely not for me. Yeah, I hold a pen in a funny way, and it makes my hand cramp. I tried to learn the traditional, like, tripod grip when I was partway through high school, but by that point it was sort of so ingrained, yeah, that then it caused my hand to cramp that way because it wasn't used to it. And yeah, I tried for several months to write that way, but I just couldn't do it. So, but thankfully, at least at that point, like, things were switching more to doing everything on computers, and I can type pretty well. So, yeah. Yeah, I asked my son if they took typing class. He said they didn't, which I was surprised because they use computers even more than us. I guess they just kind of expect the kids to learn on their own. I don't know. Yeah, although I say it's kind of nice because I remember in college when I had to take typing tests, it was done by the computer because we had an instructor saying when they learned it, this was back in the days of, you know, typewriters, and they said that the teacher would stand there with like a gong and be like, okay, ready, go, you know, and then hit the gong when they hit the 5-minute mark or whatever. Yeah. Whereas with ours, the teacher would say go, but you didn't know it started the exact same second, and you would wait till the timer cut out and it would tell you you were done. So yeah, they had a rule that sort of even if your timer had run out, you sat quietly and waited for like another 30 seconds to make sure everyone else was done so that you didn't distract them, right? Yeah, and we had to finish 3 perfect 5-minute tests where we reached at least, I think it was 45 words a minute. Yeah. But yeah, it was interesting because I'm sort of right on the cusp of Gen X, millennial. And so we had a mix of people in my college course who had learned to type on a typewriter, and sort of half of us had learned to type on a computer keyboard. And you could tell those who had learned to type on a typewriter because they hit the keys much harder. Yeah. I actually had learned some typing on a typewriter, but yeah, most of it we learned on a computer, so I didn't type that hard. But yeah, some of the older students definitely did. Yeah, and we had the whole thing about how it changed because they used to always tell you to put 2 spaces after a period, right? Because that was how typewriters were set up. You kind of needed that extra space. And now with computers, it automatically spaces it properly so that you don't have to. And so, yeah, I remember the teacher telling us we had an option to either relearn to put only 1 space after the period, or we could use find and replace, right? So type everything up and then afterwards use the find and replace to find all the double spaces and change them back to single. And it wasn't so ingrained in me that one I was able to change. So yeah, I only put 1 space after the end of the sentence. It was funny because somebody was saying, do you still do that? And I actually had to sit there and type something to figure it out because I couldn't remember. It's so automatic now, right? Yeah. But yeah, I was telling my son, like, the reason it's called the return key was because that's from the typewriter to return the carriage back to its original starting position, right? Yeah. I said that's kind of something that you missed, right? It was kind of a satisfying thing to ding, zhunk, right? And it would go back to the start again. Yeah. It's one of those sounds that you don't hear anymore due to technology changing. Like I said, younger kids, a lot of them have not ever heard a dial tone. Yeah. I said, or that sound when you left the phone off the hook for too long, that really loud, right? Yeah. They've never heard that. Somebody said, yeah, their grandkid came over and asked to use the landline because their phone had died, and they picked it up and then said, what's that noise? Because they'd never heard it before. Yeah, I said, or that sound your TV would make when it went off air and those colored bars would show up. Yeah. Yeah, TV stations rarely go off air now. They're generally 24 hours. We have sort of one that goes off air for an hour every night at like 2 a.m. And my husband said it might be because of certain licensing issues. Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah. Like, because they said if you broadcast sort of 24/7, you might need different licensing versus not broadcasting 24 hours a day. So it's one of those turn it off for an hour to sort of, meet the letter of the law, and then it doesn't cost you. Yeah. Okay, so yeah. So I have a thread parked here, but I'm going to carry it down. I'm going to carry this one over here. So. Yeah, or the static snow you would get from channels. I don't know if you can have that anymore nowadays, because, yeah, like, I mean, we don't use cable anymore. Ours is all fiber optic TV. Yeah, the only thing that kind of sucks is, they changed it, and our PVR technically now, it no longer records to a hard drive on the device. It just saves it to a cloud. And yeah, the problem is if their service goes down, you can't watch any of your recorded shows, as I discovered a couple weeks ago when the service went out. It was only for like an hour, but yeah, it was kind of frustrating. And I said the other thing I don't like is now your recordings expire after 90 days. And yeah, I guess that's to keep people from, like, say, owning a movie by just leaving it recorded. But I said it's kind of frustrating because I record a lot of stuff and I don't like having a deadline on when to watch it. Yeah. So, because I watched mostly Christmas movies during December, so even though it's end of January, I am still catching up with my backlog of other shows that I recorded during that time and didn't watch. Yeah. Oh, did I? Oh, there is another. Okay, I wasn't sure. Okay, so that's a short one. Only long enough for that one stitch. Yeah, I'll probably still be catching up through February. I was watching a show that had like 13 seasons, and they were showing like 5 episodes a day, so yeah, I recorded them, and now I gotta catch up on my backlog. So yeah, I don't have any, they don't give you any limits of how much space anymore, because there's no hard drive, but yeah, like I said, I kind of don't like that it, like, there's pros and cons. One nice thing is I can access them from any of my devices and it automatically syncs to where I was and that, but yeah, like I said, I kind of don't like that it's not actually recorded, it's just in the cloud. Yeah. Yeah, but we had to upgrade because they, I said if you had the old style TV box, it would stop working during 2024, so. Although one nice thing is with the new TV box, you can install apps if they're in the Google Play Store. So yeah, it was kind of nice because that way we can watch Disney Plus through it and stuff. Because before that, we had to watch it on a my computer. It was kind of a pain. So it's kind of nice, like Disney Plus, Prime TV, Tubi, all that. I was able to install on there, which is, yeah. Yeah, I was actually surprised because Tubi is free with ads. And we were cheap, so we got the Disney Plus option that includes the ads, so you can pay less per month. There's more ads on the Disney Plus one than there is on the Tubi. Yeah. Like, yeah, you guys are greedy. So there's some darker bits down here for the shading at the very bottom of the wings, I think. There's a lot of navy blue there. this dark burgundy color. Okay. But yeah, I'm not going to get into this big area of navy here yet. I'm going to, I think, fill in some more above it. So I may actually be changing the color palette here soon. We will see. I'll sort of start the edges of it and then go from there. 3, 9, 12,004. Yeah, I have like 4 boxes of this color blasting through it with this and the Firefly. A lot of it. So yeah, I'm going to cut it off right about this grid line here. And then yeah, I think I'll be filling in above it before I fill in the bottom, but I won't get that far until I'll start that next month. Yeah, so I said we had our wedding anniversary. I had people ask, you know, why'd you choose January? Was it like a special date for you? And it's like, oh no, it was, we couldn't get married during Lent. You have to have a special dispensation for that. So, yeah, it was either wait until after Lent and like 7 weeks of Easter, or we could get married in January. And we just said, yeah, January it is. Good enough. So, yeah. It was quite the day though, because it snowed, and this was back in lower mainland BC where it snows maybe every 5 years. And yeah, it snowed, and my parents, I stayed with them the night before the wedding. They were at the top of this big hill and they just had a minivan. And yeah, like it was, their vehicle wouldn't have made it back up the hill if they'd come down with it. And so my now husband had to show up in his 4x4 off-road truck to get us. So yeah, we broke the whole, oh, it's bad luck to see the bride before the wedding on the wedding day. Yeah, he's the one who came, picked us up, took me to the hair place to get it done. And yeah, but the marriage has been good, so I guess we didn't have the bad luck. Yeah, it made for some very nice pictures, but yeah, we had strappy sandals and, you know, spaghetti strap dresses, and then it was freaking freezing. My mother-in-law had made us shawls, so there was that. Yeah, because I'm super short, and they had to cut quite a bit off my wedding dress, so she asked for the leftover piece of fabric, and so she made me a plain white shawl, but with the extra piece of fabric, she made the ring bearer's pillow, and she made me a little drawstring purse to go around my wrist, and yeah, it was really nice. Yeah, she could sew. She made our flower girl's dress, which was my husband's youngest sister. So she was a bit older than most flower girls, but everybody was in the wedding, so yeah. There's 6 kids in my husband's family, so his 2 oldest sisters were bridesmaids, and his brother, second oldest brother, was his best man, and then his next youngest brother was altar server, and then yeah, the youngest, she was our flower girl. So, and we had a family friend who was the ring bearer. Yes, I was kind of jealous when I went to my my niece's wedding last year. They got to sit down. And I said, yeah, when we got married, we had to either be standing or kneeling the whole time. Yeah. For the bride and groom. The guests got to sit down, but the bride and groom didn't. Yeah, so 4 out of the 6 kids in my husband's family are married. And there's 9 grandkids. Yeah, 7 of which belong to the second oldest. Yes, I said 7. Yeah. Okay, so just taking a look. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, this is where the color is going to start to change into the paler colors there. So, what do I want to do next? So what I may actually do is change and work on this area here, the darker color at the bottom, and then fill in from the top, because yeah, if I do that, I have to go way, way up. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So let me just take a look here. Yeah, I see one that still has a needle in it. I'm just going to finish this off. And then I'll have one less needle and one less thread to deal with later. Oh, exactly 12,000 of this color left. At least it is until I mark this one as done. Yeah, because if I do this, I'll have to bring out a bunch of other colors, and I just don't feel like doing that right now. So I'm going to sort of change direction and start working over in this area for the moment. As I say, I stitch diagonal-ish, but when the color flows go differently, I'll meander and follow them. So. I find if I try to stick to a smaller area instead of across the whole diagonal, it makes it easier to keep it in the frame for you guys too. Because, yeah, when I'm editing this, I like to zoom it in so you can see the stitch detail a little bit better. If it's spread out across a larger area, it's harder to do that. So yeah, I don't think I'll hit 61% because I'd need over another 300 stitches to do that. So yeah. So I think I managed about 2% this month rather than 3. So yeah, like I said, I think I'm going to call it, I won't get this done by the end of the year. Probably by Easter of next year would be my guess. Yeah, I'm not someone who likes to start a whole bunch of projects at once. I like to have a few and sort of stick to those and make more progress on fewer projects rather than spreading it over a lot. Yeah, some groups I'm in, I have people who do 12 new starts in the year, like one for each month. But yeah, that's not for me. Well, for one, that would be a lot of fabric gridding, and I don't feel like doing that. Yeah. What color's that one? Yeah, 436. Okay. So yeah, it means I sometimes sort of end up with some indentations, but I don't worry about that. Eventually they get filled in. Okay. So yeah, I'll have added a total of about 7,000 stitches in January, I would think. Which still isn't too shabby. At least on this project I've done. Work on others, so. Yes, so I may just sort of cut this through that dark blue there for now. Yeah, and then next month I think I'll be starting more nearer the top and working my way down. Yeah. And yeah, like I said, if I'm correct, I may get a 0 next month if I finish her chest. It'll have been a long time coming. not too many colors this time, so progress has been pretty good. Yeah, I'm gonna break 200 pretty soon. Call that a pretty good day's work. Cut it off right about there. I might extend this little sort of blob there out a bit, but not fill in above it yet. Yeah, so like I said, I had the option. I could have done the lighter and then done this darker, but since all the darker colors I have out in my working tray already, I'm going to stick to the darker ones for now. I will say, if you are working, say, a bunch of very pale colors next to like black or something, then it's often a good idea to do the paler colors first, so you don't end up with the black sort of fuzzies sort of getting pulled into it, because yeah, I learned that kind of the hard way once, but yeah, I haven't had too much trouble. So, but yeah, if, like, because I had one where it was like white outlined in black, and I found that yeah, if I did the black first, it was kind of hard to keep the white looking clean. And so yeah, in that case, I often recommend do the white first, because having sort of the lighter fuzzies in the dark doesn't look as bad, at least to me, as having the dark fuzzies in the pale bit. Oh, I unthreaded. I don't feel like bending over and ducking my head underneath to rethread it, so I'll just pull it back. Do that from the top. Should be enough to get one more stitch out of that, but it's super short thread, so I'm not going to leave it threaded. Oh yeah, 200, nice. I'll stitch a little bit longer. I don't have sore arms today, so. And yes, I actually did start at 0, so it's a very productive morning. Knotted up on me. It actually was the first one all morning, so not bad. I said my arms weren't sore, but yeah, one of my legs is starting to fall asleep, so I think I may wrap it up here. All right, 214. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you here next time. Thanks, everyone.